experience of his career over a year ago in the bowl game, the Cotton Bowl against Missouri, and he is throwing on the move, a long throw complete to Bryson Rogers. Here's how I mentioned it in the open. A lot changing on the offensive line, certainly a quarterback. On the defense, all over the place. Carnell Tate there.
Route progressions are going where you're protected in pass pro.
Here's Keenholz, a long throw, and that zips through the hands a little too high. Ohio State record, and this man stepping right into those shoes.
Yeah, man that needs no introduction.
And now Julian Sayin, the second-year man who had some light opportunity last year, takes over, and he throws complete to C.J. Donaldson, the transfer from West Virginia, who had a lot of...
The moment he stepped on campus, there's been a ton of buzz around Sayin. And really, when I look at he's listed at 6'1", seeing him at practice yesterday, 5'11", 6 foot seems a little bit more reasonable to me. But that's what he does. 2 of those same opportunities on the prior drive.
Well, that was to Mylan Graham, the sophomore, trying to add some depth. That ball is batted and still caught by Brandon Innes, who has said his time is...
Little thing to notice here. Watch this ball get batted. I talked about his height, Yogi. Lincoln is 6'3", a much bigger, longer quarterback. Sayin shorter with shorter.
Some pistol here for C.J. Donaldson. And, of course, the running back room, one that it's gutted when you lose Travion Henderson.
That is the downhill run game. This run game at Ohio State, it's often been based out of the pistol. Downhill, get the ball to your backs, and there we go. Nice job finding your tight end, a little corner out.
Jelani Thurman.
Jelani Thurman and company. Max Clare. Jake, I know you love this route. A little play action. Corner out, settles in the zone. Perfect throw, throttles him down, and away you go. And this is the arm talent of Julian Sayin, and knowing what the defense is doing out in front of you in his zone. Nowhere.
Play on the previous, they ran the ball on the previous play, and then get into play action and open it up for Jelani Thurman.
Back to the ground, C.J. Donaldson, big hole. And he finally gets cut down in the secondary.
But ultimately, watch the offensive line up front here. Look at that big, all the space there in the middle. Great double team by the new tackle, Philip Daniels, transferring in from Minnesota.
Sayin, end zone shot, and it's broken up by Aaron Scott Jr. He came.
Guys battle. Look at the end of the play. Hand-to-hand combat. I like it right there. Guys just battling. Defense is saying it's clean. Offense is saying it's a PI. If you're a Emeka Buka down there, you're saying, hey, I make that play.
Sam Williams-Dixon will get his first carry. They're happy to have him back.
Quincy Porter, Mylan Graham, these guys would start everywhere, but they're here to compete in Columbus.
Sayin throws that complete to Max LeBlanc, the tight end. He took the shot to Mylan Graham. He's alone at the top of the screen. And Sayin is looking that way again, and this time he's able to lose the defender who slips and falls.
Release and was wide open. This is something we saw at practice. They were working these fade routes down in the end zone because they have such physically gifted and talented receivers. It's just a little off.
Well, just a little off. But also, this is why you play the spring game. 1,000 people or whatever it might be here today. Give them the opportunity.
Back to the ground. Donaldson into the leg. Touchdown, Scarlet.
Great drive by Julian Sayin. Give a ton of credit to the big fellas up front, though. The run game, the double teams, once again, running behind that right side of the offensive line. I believe that's number 70, Philip Daniels, once again, washing the defensive end. And it'd be fun to play running back here in Columbus with those big-time holes.
Man, I want to play any position here. I don't know if we'd be good enough. You would be, man, in the country.
#1 offense against the #1 defense again. And Brian Hartline, by the way, will be on the field for the second half calling plays. Max Clare, nearly a spectacular back shoulder cover there by Davison Igbinosun.
That are going to be able to cover him.
Coming from a man who won the Mackey, and you're on the board for them.
On the board, so this is starting the wave for Max Clare.
They were so mission-minded, how they attack practice, meetings, preparation, and it's really elevated and set the standard for the new faces.
There's Jeremiah Smith.
It's a safety overhang player thinking, then understanding those little nuances of the craft.
That's Carnell Tate, and it's Julian Sayin getting his...
This Buckeye receiver room is as good as you'll find in college football.
Sayin steps up, and there is Tate with the reception, beat Igbinosun, and he is touchdown at the 27-yard line.
Impressive protection. Big reason is this new man right here. Another transfer, Ethan Oniawa from Rice, really talented player at the left tackle position. We had a chance to talk to Mike Bloomgren in this offensive front.
He's transformed his body too. He's lost about 30 pounds since getting on campus. You know, there's some nuance to the spring game.
A bunch of players, and I love this, they could have left but said, no, I want to be part of this program, but haven't played a ton of snaps. We see a little seam route to tight end.
And there is Max Clare's first touchdown as a Buckeye in front of fans.
He gets lost there too, doesn't get carried in zone cover referenced. Really impressive. There he is right there, lined up number 86. Nice job on the release, doesn't get touched right inside. Sonny Styles, linebacker, doesn't get depth in Arvell Reese.
Some talented tight ends come through, but Max Clare's different just in the way he moves. He's an excellent route runner. He reminds me of you know, Colston Loveland from Michigan, and we got a great Buckeye
touchdown. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that this season.
Lincoln Kienholz back out for his second series. This time he gets his first opportunity with the twos.
Ohio State has had over 41 catches. Cade Stover had the most in 23 with 41 grabs. I think it's over 50 easy for this young man. He's so gifted. I think it's going to be such a challenge.
Maybe ever, but certainly in a really long time. The more they can get involved in the run game, the more they'll be able to open up in the pass game and play action like on that touchdown.
And we just saw a little bit of Nate Roberts there.
This side drill, which is probably the most physical drill in football. He was like, whoa, okay, there's some grown men here that I'm going up against.
And there he is making the catch. The good
is only going to make him better.
Kienholz trying to load up, and now he's pressured into a scramble. Let's go down. Emeka Buka with
step up and start generating some pressure.
Ooh, and there you go, Sonny Styles.
Right on cue. Well, there's the guy to do it. Sonny.
Run through it. There's Sonny Styles right there in the middle. Watch him understand where the run is. Just beat Luke Montgomery's block, and away he goes. And I think when you see the experience.
Can I make another bold claim here?
Bring it.
I think Ohio State has the most athletic linebacker room in college football between Styles and Arvell Reese.
There's Jeremiah.
Drive in this program. Got that this offseason. I just love how he carries himself.
There's Max Clare out in the flat. Is it safe to say he'll be the guy with the green dot, the communication? He's all four defensive linemen. Of course, the guy that wore the Blocko, the zero linebacker, the captain, Cody Simon. That's part of this too, leadership. Need new captains. Luckily, they've got good candidates for captains.
Do something really dynamic.
Kienholz to throw here on third down. And he loops that over the head of Smith, incomplete. It was
you heard it here first. Thank you, G, for letting us see your rings.
Amazing. The official confetti inside the ring.
Just to
trying to direct traffic here. And with defender bearing down on him, he dumps it down to Bo Jackson. Our first look at the freshman today, the number 5 running back.
Now, of course, coaching for Ohio State, but he's talking about how he does everything well. Comes to work with such a focus. He'll have a big role this year on this defense.
Some pressure there for Stan. Eventually he has to toss it. Logan George.
Players on this Buckeye defense.
It is interesting, right? For all of the new faces, most of them are in-house or high school recruits.
Downs and Will Howard. Logan George is one of those guys helping reload the defensive line.
That cut loose and snagged by Mylan Graham. He had a couple opportunities in the end zone
today, but this is closer. And again, there's a rush from both edges. Got to climb the pocket, sit in the pocket, and then deliver an absolute dime. Only spot that ball could go. And then the catch in coverage to your point guy.
That's saying at his best, though. Tight spiral, beautiful quick release, accurate.
And another one to the tight end, Jelani Thurman.
That one to Mylan Graham was a ripped-in, dart, accurate. The one to Thurman is a little bit more of a feathered, layered throw over the...
He played 4 games his senior year of high school last year, the running back. And it's good to see him healthy and forcing his way into the end zone for a Scarlet touchdown.
Julian Sayans buzz since he transferred in from Alabama. Highly touted recruit. Even last spring he was generating buzz. Maybe he was competing with Will Howard, and He's been the first.
He's been around a lot of elite quarterbacks. Think back to the Eagles with Mark Sanchez and Sam Bradford, or here at his time at Ohio State with Justin Fields and C.J. Stroud and company.
You know, just like every other quarterback that comes into Ohio State, he comes in with so much of the same hype that all of his predecessors have had, maybe more. Sam Williams-Dixon, you spent a lot of time with him, Yogi, the Elite 11.
On meetings, he'd come and try to assess the offense and learn it and pour himself into it. And now he's finally here, dream achieved. He knows he's got a lot of work to do right now.
Seeing him at practice yesterday, physically, he was the most impressive of all three guys. And really, this started his recruiting. He wasn't the prospect that he was ultimately before he stepped on campus. Ooh, that's a an interception there to another freshman.
That's right, freshman to freshman, and Delane, who's talked so much about how much she loves to
here in this environment, as you learn so much, especially as a quarterback. First time playing here for him, and what a nice job reaches. Delane just jumping the route, saw it the entire time, and I'll tell you what, another guy that looks physically imposing. You talk to the staff about.
Didn't have eyes on Delane there, who just read Tavion's eyes and was able to pick the ball off.
Keenholz will give it off to Bo Jackson, who steps through a couple tackles and a third. A flag comes in. Jackson breaks through another tackle.
Third running back behind the two, Donaldson and Peoples, and he's got the name power in Bo Jackson. But there it is right there is what you have to, the great running backs, they take a play that's blocked for 4 or 5 yards and they turn it into an explosive 10.
Ohio, before an injury ended his senior year, luckily no surgery was required. That ball cut loose at another catch for Mylan Graham, and a big chunk play.
And the running back coach referenced that earlier this spring. Nice job with the eyes there, a little RPO. Where's the overhang defender? It's an easy read for Keenholz. Delivers a strike.
Rival last year, so all season it just felt like he was drinking out of a fire hose. Said coming into this offseason, the game has slowed down a little bit, and clearly talented now that the game's here. 50 catches.
Now, once upon a time, Will Howard was not, and of course developed into one of the national champion. And what you're replacing here, as Keenholz connects, is 4,000 passing yards, 35 passing touchdowns, and
a lot of sacrifice and a lot of love. And that's what I see when I look at these things.
You know, when you left this quarterback room, obviously there's some young guys out there, but you know these guys because you did a season with them. What should we expect to see out of this quarterback room?
And it was a little redemption story against Oregon too. So, I'd love to say all of them, but the Tennessee was cool too because it was here in the shoe. I can't go wrong. They're all great.
His hype man, Brandon Ennis.
You're going to give him the ring back? That's the real question. Keep an eye on that. Nice pass breakup there from Jalen McClain, part of that. Jalen McClain, one of 2 players on this defense whose dads played for Matt Patricia at Syracuse. Matt Patricia was the weight room volunteer assistant when Jalen's dad, Maurice, was at Syracuse. That's a Myers win pace here, and 14 games away from passing Urban Meyer on Ohio State's.
They have full commitment from a resource standpoint. They've recruited as well as anybody. Ryan Day now getting that title of a national champion head coach. I think that's a big deal for him.
Ton of talent. I think that's why it's been one of the most physical springs that Ryan Day has overseen in his time as the head coach.
But it's not what he planned to do.
No, exactly, because he looked at his roster.
Be fluid, and the other side of that is a receptive roster to that physicality. I mean, Ryan Day, you talk about all the young, talented guys. They want practice to be live. They want practice to be
the environments. These are great reps.
If you're wondering who writes the spring game rules, by the way, it's Ryan Day. Here's Tavion St. Clair breaking out, and he gets essentially touched down by.
He lost a lot of guys. All right, how do we replace? We're going to stay with the same scheme, but we need to get elite teachers.
Here's St. Clair. That cut loose and incomplete coverage that time by Brenton Inky Jones. Third down and long for St. Clair. Down the sideline and incomplete. Intended for David Adolph.
The goal is to win championships and win a national championship. And it might have taken a little longer than what he would have liked to get there, but doesn't take away at all from how special that season was.
Julian Saint gets it down to Sam Williams. The defense is a guy worth watching. The number 8 overall player in this class, and has made a push for playing time so far in camp this year. That's Desai Jones.
He's operating really comfortable right now.
Saying again, and his receiver fell down, and that was Quincy Porter. We've been waiting to shed the black stripe on his helmet, and he has really stood out from what the coaches have said in competition. He's made a lot of.
My uncle coached him at Bergen Catholic out in New Jersey, so I've heard about him for a few years now. My uncle said this guy's going to be an absolute star and a stud. There's good blocking too, as in the screen. And
it's halftime.
Well,
Scott didn't like it, but
because that gets you kicked.
Ever tried to do a 4K, and I got through it. It was not the easiest thing in the world, but crossing that finish line at the end, you truly feel like you accomplished something. I say all that just trying to get back to my peak shape. You know, I got like 20 to 30 pounds to lose.
Lincoln Kienholz hands it off here to Bo Jackson, who was one of the stories of the first half, no question. C.J. Donaldson in the first half. This will be a 12-minute third quarter with the clock up to Ryan Day. Mylan Graham off and running and gone for a touchdown.
it's an embarrassment of riches in this Buckeye wide receiver room. It is led by Mylan Graham today. Would start at the majority of schools across the country. And Mylan Graham, a young sophomore, clearly sky-high limit, generating a ton of buzz this spring and really putting a stamp on this spring ball with his performance today so far.
Playing wide out in between the hashes is not for the faint of heart. He's done it in a variety of ways.
These freshmen have added weight or lost weight depending on what they need. It's a credit to the strength staff.
There you saw offensive coordinator Brian Hartline now on the sideline as Philip Bell, the freshman.
We see some of these young freshmen that are early enrollees. So depending on when you get on campus is a big piece of that. For Mylan, he's side of college football when you can really shine.
Part of what matters so much is where the depth is on the offensive line. I mean, it's incredible to when
allowed to participate on the field. They bring in Tyler Bowen, who was the play caller over at Virginia Tech. He's the head offensive line coach. I think that might be an interception
by Inky Jones.
That's a really nice play. Watch him just high point the ball.
Do we need Mike Pereira? No, that's clear.
I think we're good.
He's in bounds. Just to put a bow on that point, though, extremely valuable for their development.
Julian Sayin at quarterback with the flip to Sam Williams-Dixon and closing quickly to make that tackle.
Plays and they're going to continue to get better, so it's been good.
You've talked a lot about playing the offensive side of the ball. We know that you're a dynamic punt returner. Is this the year that we see
me? Because he's been in the league so long, so it's a great chance for me to see what that league does and everything that they do. And I've taken advantage of it. And
I mean, he can do everything. I think he's the most dominant player on defense in America. I think he was drafted today. He'd be a top 5 pick. I mean, he's that.
Smith campaign, I would not be shocked to see him and Jeremiah Smith both competing for that trophy.
Julian Sayin taking another shot, and it is broken up. What a play. The most productive receiver today. You know that Caleb Downs is going to love that.
It's such an impressive company. And just working on the little nuances of hand placement, working through a block. I think we'll just see tremendous.
They would love, Ohio State would love to see an Abdul Carter type jump going from linebacker to edge.
Well, that throw uncorked and on the money from St. Clair and the freshman.
Well, you call it pace. I call it plays after critical errors, right? 2 picks for St. Clair. Come on back, step into the throw with confidence, throw it to a talented fellow freshman.
The field right now, coming off the right edge is Zion Grady, the freshman pass rusher, another
at every school in the Big Ten and be an elite player for them. Those guys chose to come to Ohio State as we see some of that dual.
The CFP experience, 4 games being around this veteran roster. I think it's one of the unsung storylines. They see it again. What a shot from St. Clair again, back to Porter.
They're excited about him with how they're targeting him. Win at the line of scrimmage. Quincy Porter 6'4", so the ball is in a great location up top for him to go make that play.
Jake Alpinchuk quarterbacks can the ball finish on the face mask
off the field and getting a moment there over on the bench. So hope that he's all right. And that play is blown up immediately by Joey Velasquez.
What a beautiful picture if you want to be a physical, tough-nosed linebacker. Check for the defense there.
Sam Williams-Dixon back in at running back now. St. Clair, plenty of time and on the move. And he'll tuck it and run, closing
season. He's a former 5-star. I think he has a chance to be really, really special. But again, it's the depth behind those guys.
With this fan base just so passionate about this program.
He said this week his confidence is 10 times higher than it was last year. Wow, great second effort.
The expanded playoff, it's okay if you don't come out and drill Texas or even win the game. It's all good. It's a long season, but you find out reality real fast. You have a primary position, you have a secondary position. I think it's going to be great for this offensive front as they have to go through a long season. Where they said, hey, we come back, we win the national championship, and then we have our first team meeting. And you remember that from a player. You get in there for the...
And Keenholz will give it, and the line creates plenty of space for Bo Jackson off and racing before he's finally pulled down by Malik Hartford.
And it's so impressive. Watch that group right there as the play unfolds.
There's your left tackle too, Onyanwa, the transfer. He's been behind some key blocks. The tight ends mixing it up as well.
Line coach for the Cleveland Browns said he could come to the NFL right now, but he wanted to come here and continue to develop. The play action.
And the touch to LeBlanc, who's got a first down, and a block out in front from Quincy Porter. Good to see Porter back. Keenholz wide open out of the backfield. The running back Williams Dixon with the touchdown.
Does a really nice job, Keenholz. You know, you get to the line of the defense. What's my indicator? Watch his eyes. He knows from jump. It's man-to-man coverage. Who's on the back? He's going to beat the backer. No problem. Easy pitch and catch touchdown.
Just not enough time in the day. So.
Little play action, St. Clair, and it's snagged by the freshman Nate Roberts.
Walking away for us, it's going to be his bounce back ability, right? Throws 2 picks, wants both of them back, and he's just throwing with confidence. I mean, a lot of young freshman quarterbacks aren't standing strong in the pocket like he is. Billy gets elevated, coaching the QBs now, and a huge part of this position, as we all know, is above the shoulders. And at some point in your career, you drop your shoulders. Plays. You can just see defensive line. They can see coverage. They can see rotation a little better. You're up in the booth, and you might as well be on an island. You know, you can't hear anything, you can't feel anything, and there's a difference.
Been spread around to a number of different weapons.
Well, Carnell Tate said it. He said, well, Coach Hartline's got the keys now, so that means more balls for us. Quarterback in high school, what a great story he is. Tavian St. Clair looking the other way, and that's through the hands of Dorian Williams.
Take as many of BP Millers as you can.
That's right.
St. Clair pressured into
in the final portion of this game.
Been a good day for Julian Sayin so far, and he completes the first play of this drive
to getting the other 10 guys set up and ready to go. Decisive.
Roberts with a first down.
Yeah, it's been, you know, 9-10 to me all day long watching him operate.
Pressure coming up the middle from Logan George.
Oregon, he said it was one of the greatest things that he learned as a quarterback in his entire career. Look what he did from that moment on.
Sayin into traffic, was moving deftly in the
junior number 95. Watch the D tackle here working one-on-one. This is what we've been wanting to see here in a 2-minute situation. You're expecting pass. Can you win your one-on-one matchups?
If remaining. Sayin trying to set up the screen. Defensive line recognized it, and then LeBlanc on him.
Let's see where he goes with this. Quincy Porter down at the bottom of your screen.
Sayin deep drop pressure. The defense really stepped up to the challenge in that 2-minute opportunity. Here's Phillip Bell getting out of bounds at the floor, directing traffic pre-snap. And that is caught. Nate Roberts is on him. First and goal. St. Clair looking that way, and instead it is Phillip Bell with the catch. He beats Fahim Delane, freshman to freshman, beating a freshman.